What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of LaLiga Insiders with you, as always, Rodrigo Paez and Christina Alexander to break it down for you. To get excited for what's coming this weekend with La Liga. Our attention, of course, shifts first to the Madrid Derby. It is officially here. Start with your plans. And Barcelona to host Elche, trying to recover from that midweek loss in the Champions League. And what to know with our insiders, Rodrigo will have all that information for us, and of course, a little bit of extra time, which I think is a little bit extra controversial, but of course, it's always a good time. Let's start off with the Madrid Derby. That's going to be interesting. Real Madrid, of course, had a good time this week in the Champions League and now trying to keep that momentum going, or maybe not so much focusing on that Madrid Derby. What do you expect, Rodrigo, for what's to come this weekend? Of course, this is an important match for Cholo Simeone and, of course, for Carlo Ancelotti.
I expect a great spectacle game in between two of the maybe most in shape sides now in Spain, because in one hand you have Atletico Madrid, whose initial or beginning in this La Liga has been quite irregular in terms that they've got great results, but they've mixed it with, for example, that midweek loss you mentioned on Champions League against Bayer Leverkusen. So that's why everyone is expecting Atletico Madrid to say, here we are playing at home and we're gonna win Real Madrid, our main rival in this country. So that's why everyone at Atletico Madrid, they expect a great game, and they know that they have that chance because Real Madrid won't have, unless a miracle happens, Karim Benzema, which is a big issue for Carlo Ancelotti. And on the other side, you have Real Madrid and you have Carlo Ancelotti's side, which is a very collective block, and we've mentioned it before, that is now the main favorite to win La Liga. But the thing is that we've seen Real Madrid struggling in that Champions League game against RB Leipzig, because they didn't have Benzema, and for me that's the key of the game. Because what Real Madrid are we gonna see on Sunday night here in Madrid? Are we gonna see the Real Madrid that they are kind of released or kind of free without Benzema, or are we gonna see the Real Madrid that is expecting Benzema to come back as soon as possible to have their striker, maybe their key player in attack back in this squad? Let's see. I think it's going to be interesting, and that's why I expect a very outstanding game in between two.
Yeah, I think so too. And like you said, Atletico Madrid should take advantage of the fact that Karim Benzema is still not 100%, and Real Madrid has to really make an effort to not have that dependence on someone. And it's tough, right? It's really easy for me to say they have to find a way to really function without Karim Benzema, but good luck, right? That's a little bit tough. But at least Valverde too is stepping up to the plate and having just fantastic games so far. Now for Atletico de Madrid, I want to focus on them just a little bit, because we know that in the table they're struggling a little bit, but when you look at the results, it's not too terrible for Cholo Simeone. He's making a few changes for this game. What do you expect for this Atletico de Madrid side?
For me, it seems like around Atletico Madrid there are a lot of noise and confusion sometimes, and in this La Liga beginning, I think it's happening that. I mean, everyone is like, okay, Mario Hermoso almost battled or fight some fans 2 weeks ago. Suddenly, Atletico Madrid won against Getafe, and they did it really well. Suddenly, you have the Griezmann case, which is a kind of an enigma for Cholo Simeone, for Atletico Madrid, and even for Barca, who made the player go on loan to Atletico Madrid. So everyone is like, a lot of noise around Atletico Madrid. The thing and the real thing, to be honest, nowadays in Atletico Madrid is that they are really calm. Even I was this morning in Atletico Madrid training center, and I had a chance to talk to Joao Felix, and I could speak to Morata, and they are so laid back, they are calm, they are focused on the game, which is going to be an important game for both of them and for the rest of the squad, because it's the proof that they want to show the world that Atletico Madrid is not the same team that struggled last season. So that's why they want to be back up there, and they want to be battling Barca and Real Madrid for La Liga during the whole season long to prove that they have a great team, a nice attack line, because you have Joao Felix, you have Morata, you have Mateus Cunha, you have Correa, you have Griezmann, and that's something really that only Atletico Madrid have, because I can't find any big team with those five key strikers in attack. So that's why Atletico Madrid is like, okay, we're gonna focus in on ourselves, we're gonna be kind of concentrate, and let's win Real Madrid, because Real Madrid in this kind of derbies always wins. So that's why they have that chance to prove everyone that they're
And I'm sure Cholo Simeone had his little clipboard kind of taking notes for what Leipzig could do or did against Real Madrid. But, of course, it's a 2-0 result. Everybody's like, well, what's going on? Madrid won. Why are we talking about this so much? But it's true. Leipzig did kind of have them shaking in their boots a little bit. So my question to you is, Rolly, what can Real Madrid learn from that game and apply it now to this Atletico de Madrid game, and avoid for Cholo Simeone to be like, I'm going to do what Leipzig did, but I'm going to do it better and take those 3 points from you?
Well, Real Madrid they have an issue. It's called Karim Benzema. Without Karim Benzema, Real Madrid changes a lot, and it's not the same team, because you don't know, as a Atletico Madrid defender, for example, who do you have to be aware of. Indeed, you have Vinicius, but the rest of the attacking line for Real Madrid is like, should you focus, for example, on Hazard if he finally plays? Doesn't look like he's gonna play, or you have to focus on Rodrigo or on Asensio. It's kind of strange for Cholo Simeone to be focusing in one or two players, because we all know that Vinicius is the main guy now in Real Madrid, but besides Vinicius, you don't really know who you have to be upon. For example, if you go down to the midfield line, you can find people like Tchouaméni, but he's more a defender profile for Real Madrid. You have Camavinga, you have Valverde. Valverde now, for me, is the key guy in the midfield, apart from Modric, indeed, because he's young, he's talented, and he's in shape. And it looks like, if you see the game in between Real Madrid and RB Leipzig, it seems like Valverde is trying to be that box-to-box midfield to say, okay, I can defend, but I can also score, and I can be the guy who breaks those walls that Atletico Madrid or teams like Atletico Madrid can build up down there. So that's why you never know what will happen. When you have Casemiro, or when you had last season Benzema or Courtois, you know that those players are the key ones for Real Madrid. But now that Benzema is not on the team, it looks like unless a miracle happens, he's not going to be fit for Sunday night game. And now that Casemiro left for Man United, you don't really know who you have to be aware of. So that's why it's going to be so interesting for Real Madrid and even for Atletico Madrid that Sunday night game.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's going to be a stunner. I feel like it's going to be one that we'll be talking about this season. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it truly seems like a great opportunity for Atletico de Madrid to be like, hey, we're here too, guys. Yeah, we're in the same city, and we know that maybe the attention goes more towards Real Madrid, but who knows? And I think this ESPN Football Index says it all. A 44% chance for Real Madrid to take it, a 31% chance for Atletico de Madrid, and a 24% chance for this game to end in a tie. If that 24% comes true, I really hope it's like a 2-2, or I don't think there's going to be 6 goals, but just something really, really entertaining, right? Which is what we always expect from a Madrid derby. All right, now let's shift our focus to Barcelona, because they also have an important match this weekend, as all of their matches are in La Liga, whether their rival is really complicated or not. In this case, it's Elche, but I say it's important because of the fact that they have to recover. And it reminds me of the song Rodrigo with Robert Lewandowski in Bayern Munich. It was a reunited, but it didn't feel so good at that time. They went down 2-0 in the Champions League. So what does Xavi need to do to help his team find his footing again and not let that mentally affect them for this weekend?
Well, first of all, they have to win without any doubt. I mean, for me, it's something unmissable for Xavi's side right after the German lose, because there's an interesting debate in Spain after they lost against Bayern Munich, because everyone in Barcelona is saying, okay, we lost, but we played that well. But on the other hand, you say, okay, you played really well, but finally at the end you lost. So that's why everyone is like, okay, what version of Barca we will see against Elche? Indeed, you have to prove that you are a team that really likes to have the ball, is Barca's DNA, and you have to prove it all from the very early beginning of the game. And right after that, you have to score in a short while, because if not, Elche, who is in need of those 3 points, because they need them as as a life changing for them, it could complicate the game. We know that Barca is not the same the last season's Barca, and it's a completely different side for Xavi, because they have players that they never imagined to have in the squad, and they have key players that are in shape. The thing is that for me, they have to play well and they have to win, because if you don't win, you're gonna be again back like when you draw against Rayo Vallecano. Okay, you play well but you didn't win, and Real Madrid in the meantime, they never fail. So that's why maybe they escape in La Liga as the leaders of La Liga, and they get enough advantage that is going to be impossible for Barca in some weeks to get it down. So that's why, for me, the version of Barca they need to see is a winning Barca from the early beginning, and a Barca who plays well but to win at the
end. Because I don't know how many fans are going to be sitting back comfortably sipping their beer, whatever you're sipping on, and be like, well, at least they played really well. Oh yeah, you're right. And they're going to be very calm to just talk about this Barcelona team. Of course, they have those signings and they expect the best of the best from this Barcelona side. Now, let's get into it a little bit more now, with a little bit of this information with insiders. We've talked about Marco Asensio since before the league started, Rodri, and how his situation is uncomfortable at Real Madrid, and the fans let him know it, but then he let the fans have it with a stunner in the Champions League.
Marco Asensio's situation is very strange in terms that we mentioned last week that he was angry at Carlo Ancelotti when he was beaming right after he realized that he wasn't going to the pitch, and Carvajal was the last substitute to be chosen by the coach. The thing is that when he came into the pitch in that game, in that Champions League game against RB Leipzig, he was whistled and booed by Santiago Bernabeu supporters, and it was it was kind of strange for him, because it was the first time for him to be whistled at Santiago Bernabeu, and he was like, okay, now I've been whistled, I'm gonna score that goal. And it was an outstanding goal for Marco Asensio, a very Marco Asensio style goal, and that's why he converted those whistles into applause. So that's why he's now calmed down and he's focused on this season, because now that he's gonna stay till the end of the season at Real Madrid, now he's focused on he's gonna play, he's gonna fight for play a little bit more minutes, and he wants to go to the World Cup, and he wants to be important for Real Madrid in this transitional year for Carlo Ancelotti, since they don't have a replacement for Benzema, and since you see Rodrigo making those high steps to become one of the starters for this La Liga. For him, this is a challenge for Marco Asensio, so that's why he wants to stay, he wants to be important, and he's going to fight for that, and he's going to fight for keeping those whistles that he converted in applauses for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as he's a professional through and through and keeps doing these kind of games, not necessarily having to score each time, but at least really just trying to stay in that physical top shape that we know from Marco Asensio, what you mentioned about the World Cup, and of course, still trying to enjoy his time at Real Madrid, even though he's not 100% happy. At least he can make the fans happy just for a few seconds that we saw with that amazing goal in the Champions League. All right, speaking of staying and trying to make the best of his time, what's going on with Antoine Griezmann?
This is an incredible enigma, as we told you before, Chris, because no one understands what happens to Griezmann, because as we said so many times before, Griezmann is one of Simeone's priority. We said several times that for Simeone, he only have sorry for this, two strikers, Joao Felix and Griezmann as the main starters. Doesn't really matter if Morata scores a goal like he's doing now. He's making it really well in this La Liga beginning. But for Simeone, Griezmann is a priority. The thing is that we all know that Griezmann still belongs to Barca, and Barca made those 2-year loan to Atletico Madrid. And if finally Atletico Madrid uses Griezmann more than the 50% of the games he's fit for, he has to pay 40 million euros to Barca. The thing is that Atletico Madrid doesn't have that cash, and Barca couldn't have Griezmann back in the squad, because if not, they wouldn't have that cash as Atletico Madrid to face that operation. And now the breaking news that we have, at least what my people in Barca and in Atletico Madrid just told me this morning, is that both clubs are going to sit down once again to renegotiate everything, to see finally how much money can Atletico Madrid pay and how much money Barca can allow Atletico Madrid to pay in order to face a difficult operation. In the meantime, Griezmann is trying to be at his best and trying to be in the best shape to say and to prove to Simeone that he is gonna be a starter once this is completely solved out.
Griezmann, that must be such a tough situation because it's completely out of his hands and it's purely an economical issue, and it's really disappointing to see that a player can't reach his full potential, not because of himself, but because of a club-to-club situation. So hopefully this is resolved for him soon so he can go all in, not only for Cholo Simeone, but of course what's coming up in a few months, as we all know, the World Cup in Qatar. Next, let's talk about a little bit of the situation now with Raúl de Tomás. Where is he looking towards, Brody?
Well, this is maybe the worst operation ever, at least in the past maybe 10, 20 years in La Liga, talking about the window transfer, because no one understands how everything ended like this. And we have to say before everything that we respect Rayo Vallecano because it's a great club, but no one understands why after scoring more than 45 goals in 2 seasons at Espanyol, finally Raúl de Tomás ends up at Rayo Vallecano. Remember that at the end of last season we said that one of the main priorities for Espanyol was to sell Raúl de Tomás to any big clubs in Europe. He was close to, or at least linked to Man United, to Chelsea, to Tottenham Hotspur. He was linked to Real Madrid as a comeback for Benzema's replacement. But finally he said, okay, no offers came in Espanyol office, so they were kind of nervous. Even Galatasaray was really interested on Raúl de Tomás, but they couldn't afford the demands of the player in terms of salary per year. So that's why Raúl de Tomás finally said, okay, we have nothing. I don't want to stay at Espanyol. Espanyol doesn't want me to stay here. Let's find a situation, a solution. And finally they, at the very last hour of the summer window transfer, they find Rayo Vallecano, and Rayo Vallecano said, if I finally pay a little bit less than you asked for, talking about Espanyol, I'm gonna get Raúl de Tomás. And they weren't on time, so that's why Raúl de Tomás finally are gonna be in Rayo Vallecano by the half of the season. Now he's officially Rayo Vallecano player, but he's not able, because he's not permitted by La Liga, to play until January. This is something incredible. This is something that no one expected at the beginning of the summer window transfer, and this is something bad for Espanyol, who expected at the beginning of the summer to income with this operation more than maybe 25-30 million euros, and finally they let him go for less than 10 million euros. Raúl de Tomás is not gonna go for Spain to the World Cup because he's not gonna play, and I find it really difficult for Luis Enrique to call him up for national team in Spain. And finally, the only part of this operation that won is Rayo Vallecano, because they have a deluxe striker or someone that Rayo Vallecano
That's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous, and now I'm not surprised why you said this is truly one of the worst transfers, negotiation processes that we've seen in so many years. And to be able to cut down, again, with what we just said with Griezmann, the fact that people can't sit down, negotiate, and get it done for the player, because that's what it obviously should be. It's ridiculous. Then find another job, guys. Seriously. All right. I'm gonna try to not get angry because what's coming up next seems ridiculous too. All right. Extra time. My question is, are you serious, Barcelona? Check out the white jersey. I wish I was kidding. I'm flabbergasted. I don't even know what words to find that they're gonna use an all-white jersey. Rodri, am I alone in this sentiment, in this feeling? It's blowing my mind a little bit.
I mean, it's just strange. Maybe they need to dress in a white jersey to win the Champions League. Maybe. Is the meme right now in Spain. The thing is that I didn't know, Chris, you may already know this, but I didn't know that. They, in the 70s, they used to use the white jersey. And I've seen pictures of Johan Cruyff, as we see it now, wearing this color. And this is something that blows my mind.
Yeah. Well, it's fine. If they completely replicate this, if it's not an all-white uniform, fine. If it's to remember and commemorate Johan Cruyff as they do every day at this club, fine. Use the blue short, use the striped socks. But I don't know, it's kind of blowing my mind. Maybe to win not only Champions League, but the league as well. Really.
It'll be weird anyway, because so many years after Johan Cruyff, it's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
Really weird.
I don't know if Johan Cruyff would love it. I don't know. It's just a strange thing, because anytime anybody wears a white jersey, an all white uniform in total, I want to see the kit. I'm gonna wait. Okay.
I didn't know. I was thinking now that maybe some Real Madrid fans can buy this jersey in order to say, okay, we have something history from Football Club Barcelona in white. Maybe, I don't know if this is about.
I don't know. A marketing ploy. Maybe somebody's in a rush trying to get a gift for somebody and grabs a white jersey and realizes it's a Barcelona jersey, not a Real Madrid one. Or we got the jokes today, guys, as we always do. LaLiga Insiders. Remember to follow Rodrigo Fáez on his Twitter. There it is, @Rodrigo Fáez, at Rodrigo Fáez, of course, with all the latest information. And we'll be right here to keep making fun of Barcelona. Just kidding. We're going to talk about always as we break down information from La Liga, not only previous to these matches that you can, of course, watch on ESPN Plus all season long, but also this awesome inside information. Rodrigo, thank you as always. See you next time.